Rafael Assuncao versus Cody Garbrandt. First off, let's look at their ages. Rafael is 37 years old. He's without a doubt one of the oldest, if not the oldest bantamweight in the UFC right now. I mean, he's 37, and he's still ranked 5th in the world. Cody, on the other hand, he's 9 years younger at 28 years old, which is, quite a bit younger than Rafael. But, he's on a 3-fight skid right now, from losing to former bantamweight champ TJ Dillashaw back-to-back. And then after that, he fought the number 7th ranked bantamweight in Pedro Munoz and lost to him as well. Those 3 fights were all against opponents that were in the top 10. But Rafael, on the other hand, his last 2 fights were against fighters in the top 5. He's also on a losing streak, but the people he's just lost to are Marlon Moraes and Corey Sandhagen, 2 of the best bantamweights in the world. In my opinion, I think when Rafael and Cody go out there, I think Cody will look a little bit better than he did in his last fights. But just because Rafael has so much experience in the fight game, and he's beaten so many people that are in the top 5, I'm going to have to pick Rafael to win this fight. If you agree with or disagree with my prediction, tell me why in the comment section below. But that's it for the video. Make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Aljamain Sterling versus Corey Sandhagen is probably the closest fight to predict on this fight card. Sterling is 30 years old, 5'6", and weighs exactly 135 pounds. Corey is 28 years old and is 5'9", and is also 135 pounds. Right now, Corey Sandhagen is in a complete tear through this division with 5 straight victories, including his last fight, which was against Rafael Assuncao, who was actually the favorite to win the fight right after this one. And that fight against Rafael is the only notable win inside the octagon. A lot of people are believers in Corey Sandhagen and that he'll beat Aljamain. But let's just take a look at Aljamain's previous fights. Some of the people he's beaten include Renan Barão and Cody Stamann. But he has also lost to someone that Sandhagen has beat, who is Rafael Assuncao. And he also lost to Marlon Moraes by knockout. My prediction is going to be based off of their last fights. Aljamain has lost to 2 people that are in the top 5, and 1 person that's not even ranked. Corey hasn't lost to anyone inside the octagon, and he's on a 5-fight win streak. And yeah, Sterling is also on a 4-fight win streak, but none of the people he's beaten were in the top 5. Corey has beaten someone in the top 5 in his win streak. Aljamain hasn't. So my prediction is that Corey Sandhagen is going to win this fight by way of knockout in round 3. Now, if you agree or disagree with my prediction, make sure to tell me why down in the comment section below. Make sure to like and subscribe if you don't want to miss any fight predictions or analysis in the future. It's been your boy Bert, and I'll catch you in the next one. Alright, so the first fight on the prelims is Evan Dunham versus Herbert Burns. And it's actually a catchweight fight, which is kind of strange. I've been thinking about this one, and I'm going to have to go with the underdog, Herbert Burns, just because, I have faith in him. I think he's going to get the dub on this one. The second fight on here is Alonzo Manfield versus Devin Clark. Alonzo Manfield is undefeated, 9-0, but he's 32 years old, which isn't too old. Devin Clark is 30 years old, 11-4, so I'm going to have to go with the favorite in Alonzo Manfield on this one. The next fight on this card is Jussier Formiga versus Alex Perez. Jussier Formiga has been on the top for quite a while now, but because of his last fight, he just lost to Brandon Moreno. I'm just like, I don't think he's going down a good road right now. I think he's gonna lose this fight against Alex Perez. They have like the same record in 23-7, 23-5. Alex Perez has 2 less losses, but, you know, he hasn't fought the best. But Jessier Formiga is just kind of on a decline right now, so I'm going to have to give it to the underdog, Alex Perez, on this one. The next fight is Charles Bard. I don't know how to say that. Charles Bird, I think, versus Maki Pitolo. I'm not actually sure on this one. I don't know, but I'm just going to say right now, just Charles Bird. I'm gonna guess Charles Bird in this middleweight fight. The next fight, this is an interesting one. Okay, Cody Stamann versus Brian Kelleher. I don't know. Brian Kelleher, he's good. He's liked by all the fans. But I mean, he's 21-10. But he does take a lot of fights. It's kind of like the Cowboy Cerrone of his division. But, you know, I think Cody Stamann's got this one. He's the favorite in this fight. 18-2. Yeah, I think Cody Stammann's going to win that fight. The next fight is at middleweight. It is Ian Heinisch versus Gerald Meerschaert. I actually watched both of these guys' last fights, and Gerald Meerschaert, he didn't look too good. Yeah, he wasn't doing the best. And Ian Heinisch, he had a pretty solid performance out there. Pretty solid, but he still lost his last fight. But I mean, Gerald Meerschaert's last fight, let's check that. He won, but it wasn't against like a really, really good fighter. I'm not sure. His record's 13-12. Ian Heinisch is 13-3. I mean, Gerald Meerschaert's a veteran, so. Alright, I'm gonna have to go with the underdog in Gerald Meerschaert, just because he's a lot more experienced in the fight game. Just because he's on a win streak. Ian Heinisch has lost his last two. He's on a losing streak. So I'm going to go with Gerald Meerschaert on this one, the underdog. The next fight is Alex Caceres versus Chase Hooper at featherweight. Chase Hooper is one of those up-and-comers where you don't know. He hasn't fought, like really good people, so we know that, you know, he's legit. So I think after this fight, if he gets a win on this one, he'll be known, like, better. Like, people will have more respect for him. And, I don't know. Alex Caceres has fought quite a bit, but his record kind of stinky. 15-12. Chase Hooper is 9-0, so. Dang. I don't know. He's 20 years old. Alex Caceres is 31. I'm going to go with the upset. Like, a lot of people are thinking Chase Hooper is going to win this fight, but he's 20 years old. I just don't see it. I just don't see it happening. I think his first loss is coming on this fight card right now versus Alex Caceres. So, those are my prelim predictions. If you agree, disagree, whatever, make sure to write that in the comment section below. Make sure to like, make sure to subscribe if you don't want to miss any more content from me. And it's been fun. See ya. Sean O'Malley versus Eddie Wineland is basically an old versus young fight, with established veteran Eddie Wineland taking on one of the most hyped prospects in the UFC right now, Sean O'Malley. Eddie Wineland is 35 years old. He's 5'6", 135 pounds, and he has a reach of 69 inches. Sean O'Malley is 25 years old, 5'9", 135 pounds, and has a reach of 72 inches. Okay, let's first look at Wineland's record. He's 24-13. He has one tie, and he's fought guys like Joseph Benavidez, Uriah Faber, Renan Barão, and John Dodson. But he lost to all of them. O'Malley has only fought twice in the UFC, winning both to retain his 11-0 undefeated streak. The guys he beat weren't the best, but they were still good. And he's only 25 years old, so he's just getting started. This fight for O'Malley is a big step up from the other two guys he faced, but I think he'll get it done in round 2. Okay, if you agree, disagree, or have anything else to say, make sure to put it in the comments. Make sure to like, subscribe, if you don't want to miss any predictions or analysis. It's been fun, but I'll see you in the next one. Neil Magny versus Anthony Rocco Martin are two fighters with very similar records. Neil Magny is 22-7 with wins over Carlos Condit, Johnny Hendricks, Hector Lombard, and Kelvin Gastelum. He's been fighting in the UFC since 2013, and he is 32 years old. He's also 6'2" and weighs 170 pounds, and he has a really good reach with 80 inches. When you look at the guys he's beaten, one was a title challenger, one was a champ, and one was an interim champ. Now, if you look at Martin's resume, he basically hasn't beaten anyone noteworthy. He gets little streaks here and there, but those streaks aren't against the best fighters. Not to mention, he's 2 inches smaller than Magny at 6 foot. He's 30 years old and also weighs 170 pounds. But his reach is significantly smaller than Magny's. I think that just because Magny has beaten so many more top-tier fighters, and Martin, he hasn't beaten anyone really, and his reach is just way shorter. I'm gonna have to give this win to Magny. Alright, if you agree or disagree with my predictions, just make sure to go down in the comment section and tell me why or why not. Also, make sure to like, subscribe if you don't want to miss any more UFC predictions and analysis. It's been fun, but I'll see you in the next one. The first fight was Herbert Burns versus Evan Dunham. And at the beginning of that fight, Herbert got hit with a left hand that knocked him down, but he got up really, really fast. Immediately after he got up to his feet, he took Dunham down and got his back and sunk in a neck crank in like a minute and a half. Like, he got the submission in round 1, and it wasn't even halfway through it. That was insane. And, I have a feeling that this kid, he's going to be a really good fighter in the featherweight division, and I think in the near future, he could become a title challenger. Who knows? The second fight on the card was Alonzo Manfield versus Devin Clark. Clark immediately shot for the takedown, but failed. So he held him on the fence for a while until Manfield reversed the position and had Clark on the fence. He let go and started throwing bombs, one of which rocked Clark and got him a little cut on his left or right eye. After that, Clark shot for another takedown to avoid getting knocked out because he was rocked. But when they released Manfield, he got off the fence until he had enough and started striking until Clark hit a big shot that stunned Manfield. And, that was the end of the first round. But in the second round, Manfield was noticeably slower because this was way longer than the fight that he's used to. His average fight time is in round 1, so them being in round 2 is an accomplishment for him because he's not really ever there. So in round 2, they basically just kept trading shots, but it seemed like Manfield had gotten some more powerful shots, but Clark had more shots. So, Clark is doing a little bit better on the scorecards right now. So with half of the round over, Manfield landed a couple more good shots, but when he was done throwing his haymakers, he would just hold Clark on the fence because this is the longest fight of his career, and he's just way too tired. He didn't condition enough for this fight. So at this point, Clark had more strikes landed, and yeah, so after this round, Clark landed some good knees to the body, and with just 10 seconds left, he completely rocks Manfield. He got a really good shot on his chin, But, there was 10 seconds left, so the round ended. But in the third round, Clark landed another big shot, another one, and he started to notice how tired Manfield is. He was just noticeably weak, noticeably tired, noticeably way less power in his hands. In the first round, he had so much power, but in this third round, his power had diminished to a 5-year-old girl. So Clark, he had a small cut at the beginning, which I told you about, but in this third round, it kind of started to swell, but it's fine because Manfield and Clark were kind of in a clinch war, so it wasn't that swelling was going to affect them that much because they weren't doing a striking battle. They were more of a clinch battle. So with 2 minutes 30 left in the fight, halfway through the third round, it kind of seemed that Clark was winning the fight, and he had a lot more significant strikes at this point. And all the way up to the end of the fight, they were basically holding each other until the end, the final 20 seconds or so. They threw bombs, they threw haymakers. It was insane. They tried to knock each other out, but that didn't happen. So after these 3 rounds, the fight went to the scorecards, where Alonzo Manfield was handed his first MMA loss, with the scorecards reading 30-27, 29-28, and 29-28 for Devin Clark. Devin Clark is now on a 2-fight win streak, and he's looking to add a number to his name after his next fight. But, we'll see. The third fight was Alex Perez versus Jussier Formiga, and at the start, it was basically just Alex Perez starting out with some crisp leg kicks, and he also landed a couple of headshots, which were pretty nice. Alex Perez started to chop at that leg, which it kind of looked a little bit damaged, and they started to trade a couple head strikes, but not enough that would be able to knock someone out. But in the middle of the round, I would say Perez was looking like the better fighter. He was landing more strikes, and he was still chopping at that leg. And with just a minute 30 left in the round, Perez just stung Formiga and knocked him down with a leg kick. He got up again, but he chopped the leg 2 more times, and he actually finished Formiga. He finished him with a leg kick. Bro, I think we're looking at a new title challenger here. Oh my. Alright, that's all the fights for the early prelims. Thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe, and yeah. The second fight on the card was Alonzo Manfield versus Devin Clark. Clark immediately shot for the takedown, but failed. So he held him on the fence for a while until Manfield reversed the position and had Clark on the fence. He let go and started throwing bombs, one of which rocked Clark and got him a little cut on his left or right eye. After that, Clark shot for another takedown to avoid getting knocked out because he was rocked. But when they released Manfield, he got off the fence until he had enough and started striking until Clark hit a big shot that stunned Manfield. And, that was the end of the first round. But in the second round, Manfield was noticeably slower because this was way longer than the fight that he's used to. His average fight time is in round 1, so them being in round 2 is an accomplishment for him because he's not really ever there. So in round 2, they basically just kept trading shots, but it seemed like Manfield had gotten some more powerful shots, but Clark had more shots. So, Clark is doing a little bit better on the scorecards right now. So with half of the round over, Manfield landed a couple more good shots, but when he was done throwing his haymakers, he would just hold Clark on the fence because this is the longest fight of his career, and he's just way too tired. He didn't condition enough for this fight. So at this point, Clark had more strikes landed. And yeah, so after this round, Clark landed some good knees to the body, and with just 10 seconds left, he completely rocks Manfield. He got a really good shot on his chin, but there was 10 seconds left, so the round ended. But in the third round, Clark landed another big shot, another one, and he started to notice how tired Manfield is. He was just noticeably weak, noticeably tired, noticeably way less power in his hands. In the first round, he had so much power, but in this third round, his power had diminished to a 5-year-old girl. So Clark, he had a small cut at the beginning, which I told you about, but in this third round, it kind of started to swell, but it's fine because Manfield and Clark were kind of in a clinch war, so it wasn't that swelling was going to affect them that much because they weren't doing a striking battle. They were more of a clinch battle. So with 2 minutes 30 left in the fight, halfway through the third round, it kind of seemed that Clark was winning the fight, and he had a lot more significant strikes at this point. And all the way up to the end of the fight, they were basically holding each other until the end, the final 20 seconds or so. They threw bombs, they threw haymakers. It was insane. They tried to knock each other out, but that didn't happen. So after these 3 rounds, the fight went to the scorecards, where Alonzo Manfield was handed his first MMA loss, with the scorecards reading 30-27, 29-28, and 29-28 for Devin Clark. Devin Clark is now on a 2-fight win streak, and he's looking to add a number to his name after his next fight. But, we'll see. The first fight on the main event of UFC 250 was longtime veteran Eddie Wineland versus Sean O'Malley. At the start of the fight, nothing really happened with a lot of empty strikes, but Eddie then landed a good counter on Sean, but a little bit after that, Sean landed one of the best right hands I've ever seen. Literally outstanding. He knocked out Eddie. Eddie went to sleep. He went Z. It was an absolutely amazing performance by Sean O'Malley, getting the win in the first round. If you didn't believe in the hype train before, you ought to believe it now. Oh my God. Alright. Now that I've gotten over the last fight, we got a new fight in Neil Magny versus Anthony Rocco Martin. And in the beginning of this fight, they were both getting the same amount of strikes, and Martin tried to get Magny down for a while, but he failed with 2 minutes left, where Magny kept on chopping on Martin's legs oof. With 1 minute 30 left, Martin got Magny in the clinch again, but he couldn't do anything with it. He tried again, but just like the other attempts, he failed. And that was basically it for the first round. In the second round, Martin tagged Magny with a nice hit, and then took Magny down with a pretty big slam. But, again, he didn't do anything, as Magny got up and took control of it, but they released and began striking again. They ended up going right back to the clinch, where, again, nothing happened, and then they went back to the feet. Nothing happened, and honestly, I didn't really know who was winning at this point because both fighters haven't done really much of anything. The only reason I would say that Martin's winning is because maybe the takedown, but that's about it. And to start the third round, Martin shot in for another takedown, but he missed it. He almost got it. He was about a second harder. If he went a little bit harder, he probably would have gotten it, but he didn't get it. So after that, Magny actually went for a takedown of his own, but he failed just like Martin did. And Martin was looking really tired for some reason, so Magny took this as an opportunity and started to land some really good shots. And he made Martin even more tired than he already was. Neil Magny then had a really good combination that hurt Martin and set Magny up to get in the clinch, where, again, nothing happened. At this point, Martin is so tired, he can't really throw any shots at Martin until, the last 30 seconds, oh my god. They both threw really heavy shots and hurt each other right before the end of the fight, but it went to the scorecards. So, the judges scored it 30-27, 30-27, 29-28, which I think he got the win because of that third round, which was heavy punches that hurt Martin. So, Magny won the fight 30-27, 30-27, 29-28, which is pretty good, but it wasn't like a very good performance. I think he was kind of conserving himself, sort of, because at the end of the fight, he didn't look tired at all. He looked completely fine. On to the third fight on this main card, which was Aljamain Sterling versus Corey Sandhagen. At the beginning of the fight, Sterling went out fast and got Sandhagen's back, and he almost got the submission. He went at it again and actually got under Sandhagen's chin, and he put him to sleep. I thought this fight was going to be an absolute war, but Sterling just showed us why he should get the next title shot with Peter Yan, not Jose Aldo. Him, Aljamain Sterling, just put on one of the best performances I've ever seen. Jose Aldo is coming off a loss. I don't know why he's in the title shot. I think that Aljamain Sterling should be in the title shot, but we'll see about that. That was just an amazing performance by Aljo there. The next fight on this card was the co-main event, which was Rafael Assuncao versus Cody Garbrandt. At the beginning of this fight, Cody hit a couple good leg kicks and then started to figure each other out a little bit. Cody then hit a good right hand as Rafael couldn't find an answer for any of Cody's hits. He kept on landing good leg kicks and good combos until the end of the round, but Cody was looking a lot better than he did in his last 3 fights. But he was still losing the fight because Rafael had hit some non-powerful shots, but he's just hitting more shots. So in the second round, Cody landed some more good leg kicks that were starting to affect Rafael. They're kind of even at this point, but I would so far give it a Rafael. And with 1 minute left, Cody threw a bomb. I'm talking you, a bomb at Rafael. It didn't do anything. It just wobbled him a little bit. And then with 2 seconds left, Cody Garbrandt, oh my god, Cody Garbrandt threw one of the best punches I've ever seen and knocked Rafael unconscious, and the ref stopped the fight. It was literally pow, and the bell rang. It was probably more crazy than the O'Malley fight. I'm serious. The O'Malley fight was insane, but come on. Dude, 1 second left in the round, and he knocked him out. Oh my god. Alright, now for the main event of the evening. We got the Lioness, Amanda Nunes, versus Felicia Spencer. In the beginning of the fight, Amanda had some good strikes and leg kicks, but then she hit a big right hand and another leg kick. Felicia went for a takedown, but it ended up that Amanda took her down. Oh my gosh. Amanda started getting some good elbows on the ground and pound, and she cut Spencer on the top of her eyebrow. Amanda then had a good ground and pound punch right before the end of the round 1. In the second round, Amanda landed a beautiful right hand, and a little later, Spencer landed a good jab on Amanda, but it didn't seem to affect her. Amanda then got a takedown with 3 minutes left in the second round and started landing some really good elbows to the back of Spencer's head. When they got back to the feet, she kept landing some good punches and leg kicks until the end of round 2. In the third, Felicia started with a good knee, but soon after, Nunes started raining down with a bunch of good shots, and Spencer hadn't seemed to put anything together. Nunes then threw Spencer down like she was a stuffed animal, picked her up, pushed her to the ground. She's making this fight look way too easy. She then started to ramp it up, and throw heavier shots. She threw heavier shots. She's already dominating the fight, and now she just decides to throw some heavier shots. She's insane. So, Spencer was in trouble at this point, but the round ended. So in round 4, it was basically the same as the other rounds, but just more power by Amanda. And Amanda just began smashing Spencer with really hard right hands. Amanda so far hasn't really been hit. She's been just hammering Spencer with leg kicks, body shots, and of course, her right hand, over and over again. With 20 seconds left in the fight, Nunes rained down, and knocked her down, allowing her to go for a choke. But there wasn't enough time for it, and that was it for round 4. It was realized that she had a hematoma in the break before round 5, which just shows you how hard Amanda can hit and how much heart Spencer has. In round 5, Nunes just took her down, battered Spencer, and at this point, it just kind of seemed like the fight could be stopped at any point. But Amanda just kept battering Spencer on the ground until a doctor came in to check on Spencer to ask if she was okay. She said yes, so the fight went on, but the same thing happened. Amanda just kept destroying her all the way to the end of the fight, where she got a unanimous decision win. Amanda Nunes, my guy. Oh my gosh. This is the number 1 contender out there. And she's ragdolling her like she's a stuffed animal. If she's not the best women's fighter in UFC history, I don't know who is. She destroys everyone. No one's gonna beat her. Nobody. It's not gonna happen. Oh my gosh. Alright, if you liked the video, make sure to like, subscribe. You know the drill. And I'll see you in the next one. Alright, now for the main event of the evening. We got the Lioness, Amanda Nunes, versus Felicia Spencer. In the beginning of the fight, Amanda had some good strikes and leg kicks, but then she hit a big right hand and another leg kick. Felicia went for a takedown, but it ended up that Amanda took her down. Oh my gosh. Amanda started getting some good elbows on the ground and pound, and she cut Spencer on the top of her eyebrow. Amanda then had a good ground and pound punch right before the end of the round 1. In the second round, Amanda landed a beautiful right hand, and a little later, Spencer landed a good jab on Amanda, but it didn't seem to affect her. Amanda then got a takedown with 3 minutes left in the second round and started landing some really good elbows to the back of Spencer's head. When they got back to the feet, she kept landing some good punches and leg kicks until the end of round 2. In the third, Felicia started with a good knee, but soon after, Nunes started raining down with a bunch of good shots, and Spencer hadn't seemed to put anything together. Nunes then threw Spencer down like she was a stuffed animal, picked her up, pushed her to the ground. She's making this fight look way too easy. She then started to ramp it up, and throw heavier shots. She threw heavier shots. She's already dominating the fight, and now she just decides to throw some heavier shots. She's insane. So, Spencer was in trouble at this point, but the round ended. So, in round 4, it was basically the same as the other rounds, but just more power by Amanda. And Amanda just began smashing Spencer with really hard right hands. Amanda so far hasn't really been hit. She's been just hammering Spencer with leg kicks, body shots, and of course, her right hand, over and over again. With 20 seconds left in the fight, Nunes rained down, and knocked her down, allowing her to go for a choke. But there wasn't enough time for it, and that was it for round 4. It was realized that she had a hematoma in the break before round 5, which just shows you how hard Amanda can hit and how much heart Spencer has. In round 5, Nunes just took her down, battered Spencer, and at this point, it just kind of seemed like the fight could be stopped at any point. But Amanda just kept battering Spencer on the ground until a doctor came in to check on Spencer to ask if she was okay. She said yes, so the fight went on, but the same thing happened. Amanda just kept destroying her all the way to the end of the fight, where she got a unanimous decision win. Amanda Nunes, my guy. Oh my gosh. This is the number one contender out there. And she's ragdolling her like she's a stuffed animal. If she's not the best women's fighter in UFC history, I don't know who is. She destroys everyone. Everyone. No one's going to beat her. Nobody. It's not going to happen. Oh my gosh. Alright, if you liked the video, make sure to like, subscribe. You know the drill. And I'll see you in the next one. Robertson versus Marvin Vittori is a fight that was actually supposed to happen at UFC Fight Night Smith versus Caceres. Carl Robertson had something come up where he couldn't really fight Marvin Vittori, and when they were in the hotel, Carl was trying to leave. Vittori he just got pissed. He tried to fight in the hotel. These guys should make for a very, very exciting fight, but I mean, I don't know. I think Vittori's gonna win, just because he's on a 2-fight win streak, with the only loss before that coming to middleweight champ Israel Adesanya, which means he has experience against the best middleweight in the world. And Carl Robertson, he just doesn't have much experience with any good middleweights, you know? And I don't know. Alright, if you agree, disagree, have something to say, make sure to write it in the comment section below. I'll make sure to read it and reply. It's been fun, but I'm out of here. Dvalishvili versus Borg is another exciting bantamweight fight, with Borg looking to bounce back from his loss to Ricky Simón. Borg has had a lot of experience fighting people like Jussier Formiga, Casey Kenny, and Demetrius Johnson. He's been fighting in the UFC since he was 20 years old. Merab, on the other hand, is actually coming off a win streak, a 3-fight win streak, one of which was against 14-2 Casey Kenny. The loss before that was Ricky Simón, who both fighters have lost to. And I know Borg has more experience than Merab, but I'm going to have to give my pick to Merab Dvalishvili, just because when he first started in the UFC, I just don't think he found his rhythm, which I think that contributed to why he lost his first 2 fights. But since then, he's made a huge recovery, and he's been undefeated since then. He's a much better fighter, and I think he's going to go out there and get a decision victory over Borg. Alright, if you agree, disagree, or just have something to say, make sure to put it in the comment section below. I'll make sure to read it and reply to every single comment. It's been fun, but I'm out of here. Charles Rosa versus Kevin Aguilar have somewhat similar records, with Charles being 12-4 and Kevin being 17-3. Both fighters are over the age of 31, which means age won't play the biggest role in this fight's outcome. Charles is coming off a very disappointing loss to undefeated Bryce Mitchell. He has been inside the octagon since 2013, and he's 3-4 in the UFC, which isn't that impressive. He's fought guys like Dennis Silver, Yair Rodriguez, Shane Burgos, and of course, Bryce Mitchell. On the other hand, we got 17-3 Kevin Aguilar, who has only 3 fights in the UFC, and who is currently on a 2-fight losing streak. He's fought 2 ranked opponents in Dan Ige and Zubaira Tukhugov, but he lost to both. So, when you look at the data, Kevin's record before the UFC was 16-1, which is pretty good, but that was against nobodies. And when he got inside the UFC, he fought a couple good fighters, but he lost. Charles has been inside the UFC this whole time, fighting the best fighters in the world, getting really good experience against UFC's top talent. Because of that, I'm going to have to give this win to Charles Rosa. Okay? If you agree, disagree, or just have something to say, make sure to just put that down in the comment section below, and I'll make sure to get back to every single one of those comments. Make sure to like and subscribe if you don't want to miss any UFC fight predictions or outcomes in the future. It's been fun, but I'm out of here. Anthony Ivey versus Christian Aguilera is the first fight of the night. Anthony Ivey is 30 years old, 6'2", and is dropping down to welterweight. He also has a reach of 74 inches. On the other hand, Christian Aguilera is 28 years old, way smaller at 5'8", and has a reach of 72 inches. Alright, now let's look at their resumes. Anthony is 8-2 outside of the UFC, as this is his debut, and this is also Christian's debut, so since this is both fighters' debut, we don't really have much evidence of them fighting, good fighters. So I'm just going to look at their out-of-UFC records. Anthony Ivey's record is obviously much, much better than Christian's. So I kind of have to give him the win. Alright, if you agree, disagree, or have something to say, make sure to put it in the comment section below, and I'll make sure to get back to every single one of those comments. Make sure to like and subscribe. It's been fun, but I'm out. Tyson Nam versus Zaruk Adashev is a UFC bantamweight fight. We have Tyson Nam with 16 wins, 11 losses, and 1 draw. He's 36 years old with a 2-inch height advantage at 5'6". Tyson also has a pretty decent reach advantage, as his reach is 3 inches longer at 68 inches. Tyson Nam only has 2 fights inside the octagon, and he's lost both of them. And the 27-year-old Zaruk is just having his UFC debut. So he's 3-1 outside the UFC, which isn't that impressive. But Tyson is 16-11-1, and, that's not that good either. It just shows that, Tyson has some good experience fighting, as he has over 25 fights, while this is only the 5th fight for Zaruk. So, I'm going to have to give this win to Tyson Nam. Alright. If you agree, disagree, just have something to say, make sure to put it in the comment section below, and I'll make sure to get back to every single one of those comments. Make sure to like and subscribe. It's been fun, but I'm out of here. Julia Avila versus Gina Manzani is the last fight on these prelims. Julia has 7 wins and 1 loss, and she's 1-0 inside the UFC. She's 32 years old and is 1 inch taller than her opponent at 5'6". Her opponent, on the other hand, has 6 wins but 3 losses, and one of those losses coming from her last fight inside the octagon. Both fighters only have one fight inside the UFC, but they both have the same amount of experience, so I'm just going to have to look at their records to decide the winner of this fight, and it kind of seems pretty obvious. I'm going to give the win to Julia Avila. Alright, if you agree, disagree, or just have something to say, make sure to put that in the comment section below, and I will make sure to get back to every single one of those comments. Make sure to like and subscribe. It's been fun, but I'm out of here. Maria Agapova versus Hannah Cyphers is a women's flyweight fight. Maria Agapova is currently 8-1, with this being her first actual UFC fight. She is only 23 years old and is hungry to start a climb to the top of the rankings. Hannah Cyphers, on the other hand, has 4 fights inside the UFC and is currently on a 2-fight losing streak against Angela Hill and Mackenzie Dern. The 2 people that she's beaten weren't very good, and neither really were the people that beat her. She's had some experience in the UFC, but not enough. And I think that 23-year-old is going to be like a top 5 fighter and is going to get the win against Hannah Cyphers. Probably by decision. Although I'm hoping it's by knockout because, who doesn't want to see a knockout? Am I right? Alright. If you agree, disagree, or just have something to say, make sure to put that in the comment section below. And I'll make sure to get back to every single one of those comments. Make sure to like and subscribe. It's been fun, but I'm out of here. Espinosa versus Mark De La Rosa is a pretty even matchup in my opinion. We have 14-7, Jourdain Espinosa up against 11-4, Mark De La Rosa. Jourdain only has 3 fights in the UFC, losing his last 2 fights to number 5 ranked flyweight Alex Perez and Matthew Christopher Schneider, both by submission in the first round. On the other hand, we have Mark De La Rosa, who is also moving up to bantamweight, but he might come down as he's switched divisions several times in his career. Right now, he's actually on a 3-fight losing streak to Kai Kara, France, Alex Perez, and Raulane Paiva. His only 2 wins in the UFC were against nobodies, Elias Garcia and Joey Sanchez. And his fight before that, he lost to Tim Elliott. As you can see, both fighters are, at the bottom of the roller coaster, hoping that this win in this fight will propel them closer to the top. And I don't know who I'm going to give it to. I'm going to give it a Mark. Just because he's 5 years younger at 25 years old. And he somehow has more experience in the UFC against someone that's 5 years older than him. Alright. If you agree, disagree, or just have something to say, make sure to just put that in the comment section below, and I'll make sure to get back to every single one of those comments. Make sure to like and subscribe. It's been fun, but I'm out of here. The first fight of the night was Anthony Ivey versus Christian Aguilera, and it started out with a nice leg kick by Ivey, and he got another not long after that, but Christian had a really nice right hand that stunned Ivey, and he just kept raining down until the fight was stopped. This fight only lasted 59 seconds, which is incredibly fast for these 2 fighters that are in their UFC debut. The second fight of the night was Tyson Nam versus Zaruk Adashev, and this fight only took seconds as Tyson Nam absolutely destroyed Adashev with one of the craziest right hands I've ever seen, followed up by one of the biggest shots of ground and pound. Oh my. This is already 2 fights in a row with a first round finish. Not to mention these ones are inside of 1 minute. This honestly should have been a pay-per-view. This fight so far was nuts. The third fight of the night, it was basically the same as the others. Julia Avila knocked out Gina Manzani again in less than 1 minute in the first round. She knocked her out in 22 seconds. These fights are too fast. Bro. Okay, now that I've gotten over the other 3 fights, the fourth fight of the night was Dvalishvili versus Gustavo Lopez. And at the beginning of the fight, Gustavo landed a nice leg kick, and then Merab landed a good right hand and took Gustavo to the fence, but got off soon after. Gustavo then landed some good hits on Merab, and this fight was so far the longest fight of the night. Then Merab took Gustavo down and had his back. And then Merab got on top of Gustavo and landed some really good ground and pound. But Gustavo got back up. Literally 2 seconds after Merab took Gustavo down again and was on top of Gustavo, and ended the round with some good body shots, followed up by a couple more good punches until the round ended. In round 2, Merab hurt Gustavo with a good right hand, and soon later, he took Gustavo down again, and he got top control. Merab basically just kept Gustavo down and kept on pounding on Gustavo. Merab then attempted to knock a neck crank from the side, and he turned it into a little armbar, but Gustavo luckily got out. But not for long, as he was took down 4, not 3, not 2, 4 more times, with Gustavo just getting up, being took down, getting up, being took down over and over and over again until the end of the round. In the third and final round, Merab landed some good shots until again he landed another takedown, making this his 10th takedown of the fight. Gustavo got up again after taking some good ground and pound, and he was taken down yet again. Gustavo got up again, but was taken down again. This was already 12 takedowns. 12. On the ground, Merab just kept landing good ground and pound until about 40 seconds when Gustavo got up and was taken down again for the 13th takedown of the fight. Like, what? He just kept it down there for the rest of the fight. And this fight was amazing, as Merab got the bantamweight record for the most takedowns in a fight, with 13 takedowns. What? Anyway, he won the fight by unanimous decision, quite obviously, because, 13 takedowns, the bantamweight record. Come on. The 5th fight of the night was Maria Agapova versus Hannah Cyphers, and at the start of the fight, Agapova landed a bunch of good shots as she was pushing an unbearable pace on the Cyphers. Agapova was just going super hard, and it was starting to affect Cyphers. Soon after, Agapova landed a huge kick that hurt Cyphers, and it allowed her to take Cyphers back, and she got her arm under Cyphers' throat and submitted Cyphers for another fight, ending inside of the first round. 4 of the 5 fights that have happened right now are inside of the first round. When has this ever happened? The 6th fight of the night was Jourdain Espinosa versus Mark De La Rosa, and at the beginning of the fight, Mark started eating jabs and leg kicks. This basically happened for about half of the round, until Mark got Espinosa onto the cage, and it started to look like he was going to take him down. But the whole time Mark tried to take him down, he was being hit in the body from Espinosa, and Espinosa was landing some good elbows that were counting as points, all the way up to the end of the round. At this point, it was pretty obvious Espinosa was winning the fight, probably something like 10-9. And in the second round, the striking was pretty much the same, as Espinosa landed some good shots, and Mark couldn't really respond. With 1 minute done with the round, Espinosa landed a really good liver shot on Mark. Mark then got the same position on the fence as he did in the last round, where he got the one leg of Espinosa, and he went for a takedown, but he couldn't get it. On the feet, they were kind of even, but Espinosa kind of had the edge. But that didn't last long, as Espinosa basically took control of the fight yet again, getting some more good jabs, right hands, up until the end of the round. In the third round, Espinosa actually had Mark on the fence for about 5 seconds until they started throwing on the feet. Until, again, Espinosa landing his own takedown that Mark had been trying to do this whole time. On the ground, Espinosa was landing some good ground and pound until he decided he didn't want to get submitted. So he went back on the feet. And on the feet, nothing really happened because Espinosa actually took Mark down for the 3rd time. He landed even more ground and pound on Mark until, again, he didn't want to get submitted, so he decided to get back up on the feet. And on the feet, it was like the other rounds, with Espinosa landing a bunch more good shots and Mark not doing much. This fight went to decision where Espinosa won by unanimous decision, which was pretty obvious because Mark kind of didn't do anything. He was trying to get takedowns on Espinosa, which was his specialty, but Espinosa took him down 3 times and still managed to outstrike him. This was just, this fight was kind of uneven. Espinosa kind of was a way too high level for Mark. The 7th fight of the night was Fili versus Charles Jourdain. At the beginning of the fight, they both started landing some good shots on each other, as Charles was landing some good body shots on Fili. Soon after, Fili landed a good head kick, but Jourdain countered with a good one of his own. Both fighters were pretty even at this point, with both landing the same types of strikes. At this point, it seemed as if Fili's arm was hurt a little bit, and about 10 seconds later, Jourdain landed a really good shot that knocked down Fili. Not knocked out, knocked down. But he got up pretty fast. With 10 seconds left in the round, Andre took Jourdain down, but he got up right before the round ended. In the second round, Jourdain was getting some good leg kicks, as Fili was also getting some good strikes of his own. With half the round over, it looked as if the fight was a draw, as they both had the same amount of strikes. The only thing really different was Jourdain's knockdown and Fili's takedown. Both the fighters just kept landing combo after combo after combo until Fili took Jourdain down again. But nothing really happened as Jourdain got right back up, and they struck a little bit until the end of the round. In the last and final round, Jourdain kept on with his leg kicks, and Fili kept trying his head kicks. This fight was basically all tied up at this point, so whoever wins this round kind of wins the whole thing. Fili then went for a takedown and completed it, and when Jourdain got back up, he brought Jourdain right back down. When they got up again, they kept going back and forth. With 30 seconds, Fili took Jourdain down again, and they stayed there for the rest of the round. This fight went to the scorecards where Andre won by split decision. The 8th fight of the night was Charles Rosa versus Kevin Aguilar. In the start of the fight, Rosa kept landing leg kicks and some good punches, but Aguilar was also landing some good shots on Rosa. With about 1:30 left in the round, Aguilar landed a good right hand, and they started trading shots for a bit. They were looking pretty even. Rosa then went for a takedown, but failed, and that was about it for the round. Not much really happened in that round, and, I'm not really sure who won that round. But in round 2, Rosa had a really good body kick and some more good leg kicks. Aguilar then landed some good shots that right in the face of Rosa, and with 1:30 left in this round, it seemed that the fight was more in Aguilar's favor. With 20 seconds, Rosa landed a good head kick, followed up with a nice left hand that stunned Aguilar before the round ended, where it was noticed that Rosa had developed a nice cut on his forehead due to a headbutt by Aguilar. In the third round, they started trading shots for about 2 minutes, where Rosa landed a good combo that bloodied up Aguilar's face a little bit. This fight slowly started to go towards Rosa's favor, as he was landing a lot more shots than Aguilar, and Aguilar, he just kept missing by just a little bit. Aguilar then started throwing big shots near the end of the round, as he wasn't sure if he'd done enough to win the fight. When the fight went to decision, the scorecards read 29-28 Aguilar, 29-28 Rosa, and 29-28 for your winner by split decision, Charles Rosa. I was honestly not sure who won this fight, but if you think about it, Rosa definitely had more strikes and had a lot more leg kicks to earn the split decision win. The second and last fight of the night was Carl Robertson versus Marvin Vittori. In the beginning of the fight, Marvin landed a couple nice shots on Robertson, and he went for a takedown, but he got it reversed. And when Vittori got out and up, he immediately took Robertson down again, and he went for a submission, but he failed. And that led to Robertson getting on top, but just 5 seconds later, Vittori reversed the position and got on top of Robertson and just started raining down ground and pound until they got Robertson's back, and he ended up choking him out. He choked out Carl Robertson with yet another first round finish. This card is sick. The main event of the night was number 1 ranked flyweight Jessica Eye versus number 10 ranked strawweight Cynthia Calvillo. In the start of round 1, Calvillo and Eye were both trading shots, with Calvillo landing a good head kick on Eye. On the strikes, Eye is probably winning the fight with about 1:30 left in the round. They basically just kept trading some good strikes here and there up until the round was over. In round 2, Calvillo got a hold of Eye's leg and took her down. On the ground, Calvillo got some good ground and pound until Eye stood up, but Calvillo got Eye's back and was looking for some more ground and pound. In round 3, they traded a little bit as Eye was mainly winning the exchanges. Soon later, though, Calvillo got Jessica to the ground again and got Eye's back and was looking for a rear naked choke, but there was just too little time left in the round, so she threw a couple more shots right before the round ended. In round 4, Calvillo took Eye down with 4:30 left in the round. She took her down in only 30 seconds and got Eye's back. She started putting some more ground and pound on Jessica, and she basically just kept on doing this until Jessica found a way up somehow, and they began striking again with 2 minutes left in round 4. In round 5, I would say Jessica probably would be losing, and it kind of seems like she needs a finish at this point. They kept up their back and forth striking, but it just seemed as if Calvillo was winning the exchanges. And if she didn't get finished, she probably would win the fight. With 1 minute left, Calvillo found another takedown, kind of trying to chip away at the clock until the end of the fight. This fight went to decision, where Cynthia Calvillo won the fight by unanimous decision. Oh my god! Alright. Thanks for watching this video. Make sure to like and subscribe. It's been fun, but I'm out of here. Josh Emmett versus Shane Burgos is our co-main event for UFC Fight Night Blades versus Volkov. Shane Burgos has achieved an impressive record of 13 wins and only 1 loss. He is 29 years old and he stands 5 foot 9 inches tall. He has a reach of 75.5 inches. Josh Emmett has achieved a nice record of 15 wins and 2 losses, but he's much older at 35 years old, and he stands 5 foot 5 inches tall, which is 4 inches smaller than Burgos. He also has a reach of about 70 inches. Alright, now let's just take a look at the guy they faced to achieve those records. Burgos' most notable win would probably be against Cub Swanson, as none of the other fighters he's beaten have been ranked. He also got that 1 loss on his resume, fighting the number 6th ranked featherweight in the world, Calvin Kattar. Emmett also has 1 notable win on his resume from beating Michael Johnson, but he's also lost to 2 people in Desmond Green and Jeremy Stevens, with Jeremy being the most skilled fighter he probably has faced, as he got knocked out in round 2. Just because of the fact that Emmett is older and he's lost to worse guys than Burgos has, I'm going to have to give the win to Burgos. Alright, if you agree, maybe disagree, or maybe you just have something to say, make sure to put that in the comment section below, and I'll make sure to get back to every single one of those comments. Make sure to like and subscribe if you don't want to miss any more amazing MMA content. It's been fun, but I'm out. Curtis Blades versus Alexander Volkov is the main event of the night. Volkov has achieved a record of 31 wins, 7 losses. He is 31 years old, 6'6", and has a reach of 80 inches. Blades has achieved a record of 13 wins, 2 losses. He's 29 years old and is 6'3" and has a reach of 80 inches. Now, if you look at the guys both fighters have faced, Blades' only kryptonite is Ngannou, and he's lost to him twice. Those are his only 2 losses. Now, he's also beaten guys like Alessio Oleinik, Mark Hunt, Alistair Overeem, and Junior Dos Santos. The guys he's beaten are pretty amazing, but now we gotta look at Volkov. Volkov has beaten guys like Roy Nelson, Stefan Struve, Fabricio Verdum, and Greg Hardy. He only has 1 loss in the UFC, and that was to Derek Lewis. Now, when you look at all the info about them, it's kind of a hard decision, especially because this is a heavyweight bout, and as we all know, anything can happen. Now, if I had to choose a winner, it would probably be Curtis Blades. Yeah, I think it'd be Curtis Blades. Alright, if you agree, disagree, or just have something to say, make sure to put it in the comment section below, and I'll make sure to get back to every single one of those comments. Make sure to like and subscribe if you don't want to miss any more amazing MMA content. It's been fun, but I'm out of here.